Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to Blood Bowl Chaos Edition. I am the Illusionist, and we are back in the field with the Hammersjurg Destroyers in the Legacy League. We lost our last game against the Dock of Our Daggers, Dark Elves, so now we're taking it to their little cousins, the Wood Elves. We are playing against the Murderhobos. We still have a team rating of about 1,000 after our inducements, and a couple of injuries from last game. Our opponents are at 1,520, which is plenty of money to bring us Morgenthorg once again, twice in 2 games. We're getting things rolling now. The Hammersjurg Destroyers, the Norse team that I'm playing as, had the coin toss, got it wrong, and so the Elves chose to receive. Kickoff table gave us sweltering heat. We've never seen that before. It's a pain in the neck. Basically, at the end of every drive, you roll a dice for all your players. On a roll of 1, they are knocked out until the next drive. If the weather doesn't change when that drive begins, you roll all over again. So basically, everyone's going to be losing players. That could go both ways for me. I mean, if I lose my star player, that's a massive kick in the teeth, because he's basically 500,000 gold in inducements all by himself. So if Morgenthorg collapses, I'm back to square one. On the other hand, none of my players have any skills or anything interesting on them. All the Wood Elves do. So if any of theirs faint, it's an even better and bigger bonus for me. Strip ball, pro tackle, yuck. Wood Elves are scary. You might not think it. I mean, they're only strength 3, armor 7 mostly, so they're a little bit fragile. But they are all agility 4, and they get war dancers, which are probably, I was going to outright say it actually, they are the best player in the game. Starting out with dodge and block, they're really good, whether they are fighting or defending, and they get leap, so they can break straight over a line if they want to. Which is exactly what they want to do. They both jump over each side, disappear over here or over here somewhere. Whatever happens next, they throw someone the ball. I can't take down both. Going to struggle. So what I want to do is get up close. I'm going to have all my players in a line across the middle. Not the greatest of ideas in this scenario, because once the War Dancer jumps my line, there's absolutely nothing left behind to catch them. Ideally you want a player sort of staggered just behind the line, so that when they jump and land, they're landing in tackle zones. But I'm still early at this. I'm still trying to play like a dwarf team, so it doesn't quite work out. I do, however, win the brilliant coaching roll, so I get an extra reroll. Yeah, just what I needed actually. I have 2 berserkers on the team with frenzy, so I need some consistency that comes from rerolls. And I've just got one for free. Typical running team play, they knock the guy out to the side and then they can just feed 2 players straight down this open line here. It's just really a matter of who they send. I mean, typically you'd send the War Dancer, because block and dodge, they're agility 4, catching the ball is not going to be a problem. You just want someone who's not going to be knocked over. The Elves have the ball at the back of the pitch, way out of reach of any of my players, so until they decide they're going to throw the ball, it's going to stay nice and safe there. Opponent is taking the careful approach. Clearly he has a plan. It's fairly obvious what it is. He runs a player down here, then leaps on the ball over here, and I can't stop them both, not without a really lucky intercept, or without failed dice rolls on his behalf. And with an agility 4 strong arm pass thrower, that's not likely to be a failed throw. I think I've said it before in some other videos. You shouldn't try to expect your opponent to fail. So they're going to use their rerolls to succeed as best they can. You should always take the active roll and try to succeed. Both down, attacker down. Everyone on my team has block. That's fine by me. To an extent, I wasted his blitz for the turn, and I've not really pinned his war dancer there. She can get away whenever she wants to. Well, the war dancer has pinned me there, so I have to dodge out, get away. Some cautious blockers. I mean, he's in no threat there. My closest player, 7 away, can just about get here. Big old risk with go for it to blitz 1 dice or even 2 dice against. So that's a perfectly clever, sensible play there. He does have a tree man. Strength 7, jeez. Oh, the war dancer fails his jump. He goes pro. Fails that too. Ooh, that's unusual. Just the sort of boost that I needed early in the game. Oh, badly hurt as well. Straight off the pitch. Well, that's the best thing that could possibly have happened to me actually, because now I've got a catcher I can take down. And the Elves have no one who can receive the ball. So we send in the attack, take down as many players as we can, do as much damage as possible, and give them nowhere to run to. Sending the lineman on his catcher. Any kind of down would be nice here, but we get a push. If I were really thinking about it, I'd put them there. Because then whatever happens, it's 2 dodges to get away. Here it's just 1 up and around. And I think he can still score actually. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, he can still sprint and score if he wants to. So, doesn't really help me. And that used up my blitz for the turn as well, so now I have to try and get some cunning blocks in. So we pile up on the line again, seal this hole with tackle zones so no one's going to run through easily. Agility 4, not too many players have dodge actually. A couple, but not really enough for it to be a serious problem. Having said that, it only takes 1 player to score a touchdown, I guess. Oh, we get a push. Great. Gonna be one of those kind of games. Still, at least I'm 1 step away from the tree man, so I can pin him in place with 1 player. That'll be fine. Both down on the war dancer. That kind of sucks. I could have done with something this turn to try and capitalise. Didn't get it. Well, okay. Shouldn't really complain, I guess. I mean, the Norse are where they want to be. They're in a fight with an ogre backing them up. And they've got cover on the guy who's going to catch the ball. So it's not all bad. Elf lineman pushes the berserker. Again, just making a space for the war dancer to move. He can move in or around if he needs to. She, he, she, it, I don't know, it's an elf. They're all the same really. Nope, definitely a she. There she goes, trying to free up the catcher. Pushed and both down, doesn't quite... Well, she gets what she wants I suppose, the catch is free. So, turn 2 touchdown maybe? Moves the war dancer away, at least. Do have a couple of opportunities for interceptions, maybe? Although agility 3, no skills, it's not incredibly likely. Treeman takes down a lineman. He's only stunned. That's what you get for not wearing armour, I guess. Still not all bad. And here comes the throw. Hey! Interception! Okay, wasn't expecting that. What did I need for that? Just a 4+. Okay, that's unusual. I thought it was a penalty for being a tackle zone, which this guy would provide. Apparently not. Straight agility roll for a catch. Good to know, good to know. So that puts the Norse in the driving seat again. And what we need to do is break the lineman out, so he can't be blocked. We'll do that by putting some tackle zones on this mercenary in the middle, and putting a guy between him and the war dancer. So even if she does get a punch in, it's going to be a lot of dice against her. Morgenthau takes a swing. Gets wrestled to the ground. Not a big problem. Over on the other side, the catcher gets close to the edge of the pitch. Can the berserker take her off entirely? Defender down, defender down. Well, shouldn't really complain about that, I guess, because that's an elf down nonetheless. It's always fun pushing people off the pitch. Bit of a risk taking the swing with my ball carrier, but I've got 4 rerolls and he's got the block skill against no skills. That felt like a safe bet. We dodge away from the tree man, fail it. It's my spare reroll gone, don't really have a problem with that. That does of course mean I've got a guy free next turn who's not pinned in place by the tree man. Until of course he punches this guy in the eyes. And follows up. But still, it's a chance I didn't have before. He gets straight back up and puts a tackle zone on the lineman. He can't really get another assist, so the war dancer is going to have to take a 1 dice at him, I think. Although, no, that's not clever, because yeah, it's still only 1 dice. And he gets a push from an elf into an elf, which doesn't really help him, because again, that's still only going to be 1 dice. Oh, strip ball, of course. And by sheer fortune, my own runner catches it, who's still next to him. Well, that's 2 incredible pieces of luck, one after the other there. I should not count on that happening more times this turn. Or even this game, for that matter. A moment of stunned silence from the Wood Elf player, who... well, I wasn't expecting that. I don't think he was either. So he tries to do what he can, trying to injure me in response. Wrestles my berserker to the floor. That's not actually a problem at all for me. I can block this lineman out the way, blitz this one free, and I've got all this space now to come up here and reform my cage further up into the half. All the elves and wood lancers are down here. Yeah, I can see how I can make progress here. Treeman takes a swing again at some random guy. Not even worried. I should be less blasé about this. I mean, Norse are only armour 7. They're basically wearing loincloths. They're elves, in a sense, I guess. So they've got a good chance of taking injury. But my guys are a hard-headed bunch. No real problems yet. Using the lineman. Again, not a massive problem, but we'll see. Brings in his catcher, so that does sort of limit me on this one side. But I still think I'm in a good position. My ball carrier's got lots of support around him. Not a lot of offence nearby. And it's only a mercenary as well, so if anything he does try, he could potentially burn a reroll. That's what the loner skill does. Well, I say skill, it's more like a deficit. Having a quick look to see who else can do anything. He's going to try and dodge his catcher out the way. Fails it. Burns a reroll, gets away. So, I think that's more of a temptation target than anything. He wants me to blitz this guy and try and knock him off the pitch. Except I can't now because he's moved one extra. Whereas I might have tried it on this side instead. Maybe not deliberate, but I would have tried that in his position, I think. First KO. Good stuff. It's only a mercenary, not too worried about him. And that's officially a cage. I don't care what you have to say about it. It's got 4 players on it, it's fine. That guy stands up really as to tarp the tree man, in case I need to dodge this guy away. And yes, we can blitz the lineman out of the way. We can have a mob of guys up here ready for my ball carrier to be stood in the middle of. Have to love jump up, because that didn't even count as a blitz. Unfortunately I pushed him, well, I guess I pushed him the right way, but he'd gone this way, he'd have got the assist on me. So even though I can't get him off the pitch, I've got him way out the way, so it's nice and clear. More jumps on the thrower and the lineman. They can't take him down by themselves, so they're going to have to try and dodge, which is going to be a tricky position. Marking up the catcher. Again, put tackle zones on absolutely everybody. Hopefully some of them will cause re-rolls. And then turnovers. Again, bit of a risk with the runner. I perhaps might not have tried that, were I not such a low power team, but I'm taking a few risks, just because, well, my opponent might not be expecting them. The other runner moves in and comes from the thrower, so I've now got a clear run at the end zone. The only guy who can stop me is the lineman, and he's going to have to dodge into 2-3 tackle zones to do it. If he doesn't, he's going off the pitch next turn. Very strong position for the Norse early in the game against such a much more powerful opponent. Having said that, things can turn quickly. All he has to do is get the ball off me. His strip ball character can potentially still reach me. Then it's quite an easy throw to the catcher, who can run it in any time he wants. Not forgotten this guy. For all those heroics from my runner, I didn't even use a reroll. Perhaps I should have got my lineman out of the way. Yeah, covering the catcher would have been a good idea. Ah well, no biggie. So he can get to me. He needs an awful lot of dodges through an awful lot of tackle zones to do it. So I'm feeling pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We can score. And I have the rerolls to do it. A turn 4 touchdown wouldn't be a bad thing at all. Give me a nice safety net, force the Elves to try and move quickly. I mean, they can score in 2 turns, so it could potentially be 2-1 by the end of the half if they really wanted it to be. But they'd have to work really hard for it. And I will be receiving in the next half, so I can start a cage and a slow grind up. Yep, that was perfect, just what I wanted. He burnt a reroll, trying to dodge away into a tackle zone. Failed it, without moving any of his other players. So I run away from everyone ever. Not going to go for it this turn. Very safe, even the thrower can't reach me. He's movement 7, he'll end up around about here. The lineman's just been knocked down, he can't do it. I can afford to take a turn to just try and cause some damage and hurt people, ready for the next half. At least I would if Morgan Thorg would remember what his job was. He gets better, I promise. Still, plenty of blocking opportunities on the thrower, the lineman. Too bad I can't get this guy off the pitch anymore, but can't win them all. Passing the throw around. I will not choose a particularly good euphemism for that. Both down, finally got him. No injury though. Bit of a shame, but hey. Plenty more to go. Both down again. Another wrestle player. So I choose push. We'll take another stab at it with the other lineman. Mark up this guy just to be safe. We don't want to. We can burn another turn in this, then we will. So in the end, we just wrestle him to the ground. That way I can move this lineman away from the edge of the pitch, stop a lucky blitz taking him away, and it stops this guy going anywhere important next turn. Picking a target. Who's it going to be? We'll try the catcher, because we know he's down there and he's waiting. Push him to the edge of the pitch. Why not? Maybe we'll get lucky and take him down later on. Finally we dodge the lineman away to cover his other catcher. Push him a little bit forward, so if he does try to come up here, he has to run a little bit longer. It burns more movement, stops him getting as close. So we can hopefully try and burn 2 turns here and go into the second half 1-0 up. Tree man takes down an inconsequential lineman. Don't have a problem with that. Yeah, this is the sort of game Norse wants to be playing. Lots and lots of people being marked. A line of players stopping people dodging through easily. Here comes the war dancer, but as I thought, way out of the way. Catcher also, preparing for a blitz next turn. I might be able to get away with this if I run over here. No, I can't get away from the war dancer. Good. That's a fair play from him. Put some pressure on. Score now or not at all. Catcher gets away. Obviously he doesn't want to be marked like that if he can possibly help it. He's not a Nerves of Steel player, so he does need to be away from a tackle zone if he's going to catch effectively, if he can help, if he can do so. There's a question of whether or not he stands up all his other guys now. Fails a dodge. Moore gets a KO. Good to know. That's actually working in my favour, because that's 2 definite KOs for the next half. Plus whatever happens from sweltering heat. Morg pushes the war dancer away. So now I think my runner can get way into the corner and not be stopped by anyone next turn. No, we'll just run it in. There's no blocks to be had. Morg's blitz didn't come up for anything. Don't really want to risk it. The catcher might get lucky on 1 dice. The Elves don't get up and there's serious injury there. So there's a really good chance with some good rolls in the sweltering heat. I'm going to be severely outnumbering him next turn. I mean, I've even got 2 substitutes ready and waiting for me. Lots and lots of dice are rolled. Okay, 2 linemen are KO'd on the Norse team, and the Elves. Oh, the tree man gets KO'd. Wow, that's going to be such a pain. Now he effectively has no answer to Morgenthau. Not that he was particularly doing that to begin with, but my ogre can now run with impunity. However, I am kicking again. And the Elves have a couple of turns, so they can still score and even the odds before the end of the half if they need to. So it's blocking tactics. He has to have 3 players on the line, which will probably be his lineman. Put his war dancer over here. Maybe his other catcher over there. and do the same as he did before. Push the lineman in, run a catcher straight down there, have his war dancer jump over here and run down the middle or the far side, and then in the last turn throw the ball to them and hopefully don't get another interception. Yep, that looks about right. So send them both down the one side. Far away from Morgenthau, I think is his biggest problem, because Morg can blitz anyone on 2 dice. Again, I should be a bit clever and put some more players in a second line here, just to stop them getting through really easily. However, the weather changes and it's now nice, so chances are I'm not going to lose any of my players next half, which would be fantastic. Of course, he now has to try and survive while I pulp his 6 remaining players. Again, in the elf position, I would probably put the war dancer over here and send him down the other side. So now he's got 2 players right next to each other. I can effectively put tackle zones on them with 1 player. Even though I've got plenty of spares, you'd want to separate them. Oh, he fails a leap. Okay, so that's gone entirely wrong for him. He hasn't even picked up the ball. I can't do an awful lot about that, but I can squish the rest of his players quite happily. So we send some guys running at him just to put the heebie-jeebies on him. Use his last reroll in that too. Then we'll send some guys down to go and talk to the war dancer. Not a good position for an assist. You should keep him here, so that way when he gets a push, he's still in a tackle zone afterwards. But at the very least, I can push him up here and keep him in all 3 tackle zones. Again, probably shouldn't have followed up, so that way if the war dancer does try to leap, leaping into tackle zones rather than out of them. Just makes that extra little bit more difficult. Wrestle to the ground again. I hate that skill, I hate that skill, I hate that skill. Just in case you couldn't tell. Attacker down, attacker down. Thanks very much for that. And finally block pays off. Put my thrower into mark his catcher, because that guy gets up and can potentially catch the ball and hand off to the war dancer. It's easier to do than throwing straight to the war dancer. A bit of a high risk for me. I'm moving everyone up, so if the ball does land in the middle or on the far side, I've got nothing I can do about it. But the ball is obviously going to the war dancer. That's the only one who can score. So that seems like a safe enough bet. Question is, does he turn over again? The elf player's not been having much luck so far. Okay, he gets a couple of dodges. That's good for him. Almost didn't. Thanks to the dodge skill for getting him out of that. Again, another dodge, sending them, as I said, around to the left, because there are plenty of players on the right, and now I'm going to have to try and chase him. Oh dear. So even agility 4 players sometimes need sure hands. This is a problem. I can score from this. Send in the berserker to push his catcher off the pitch, or even just knock him down. I would like him off the pitch, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, defender down, that's fine. The lineman can move 1, We cover the thrower. Again, we're assuming we're going to fail, and we don't want the guy to jump in and do something horrible at the last moment. So we stand up all the guys, have them do some marking up. Still got a reroll to burn. So we cover the catcher down at the bottom, and the lineman in the middle with Morgenthorg. Are we going to be lucky? The lineman gets the ball, 2 go for it later. 2-0 to the Hammersjurg Destroyers. I cannot take any credit for that. That was simply the dice going in my favour and against my opponent. At least all of his players get straight back up now, so it's back to even grounds. On the downside, I get mine back too. However, both mine were linemen, who were immediately replaced with other linemen, so I've not really lost or gained anything. However, the Elf player now has a lot of catching up to do. He can one-turn score. Elves have that possibility with some very, very careful blocking on the touchline and passing the ball to a guy who's been nudged forward and a sprint. It's not easy, it takes a lot of luck. He doesn't have any re-rolls, but at this point he's got nothing to lose, I don't think. So let's see, is he going for it? I have to confess, I say he can do a one-turn touchdown. I don't actually know the mechanics of how he does it. It's a very specific set of moves in a very specific order. No, he's not going to try it. He's pulling way back to the back of the pitch, so I can do as little damage as possible to his players. And he'll start fresh in the next half, hopefully with a full or a near full team. I don't feel the need to change my lineup because my opponent, he's not coming at me. Just get a reroll from cheering fans. So I basically have a turn of punching these 3 guys for my own amusement. Assuming of course they don't dodge away, I mean it's entirely possible. The 2 linemen are both agility 4. That's probably his best move actually, is to dodge them as far away as possible. Instead he tries to block and eats his last reroll for no effect really. At least his lineman is free. I mean it's with the dodge skill it would have been more sensible to just dodge. Oh dear dear dear. Morg earns his money, badly injures the tree man. This is all going the Norseman's way all of a sudden. Just for fun. I'm not getting any star player points off this because Morgenthorg's doing all the heavy work. But so what? Oh, another one. That's a long-term injury. Niggling injury re-rolled into dead. Yep. Sends in the apothecary, whose is substantially better than mine, I suspect, but there we go. Well, that was ideal, so that's 2 players off the pitch in a turn, very nearly killed one of them, and we make sure this last guy gets it in the face. If we can get the mercenary down as well, that's going to have a significant advantage for us. Stumbles pushed both down. Could foul him. I really could. Well, he's only a mercenary. Nah. We'll try and pick the ball up because it's funny. We get it. Don't know what we're going to do with it because we can't move any further. Just a little act of defiance. This is how you do it, Elves. End of the half. Lots of casualties. 2-0 to the Hammersjurg Destroyers against the Murderhobos. It's all going the Norse way. We'll see if we can keep this up and see if we can get our first victory of the Legacy League. Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day. Bye bye.